What's up everybody, it's Brandon, and today I'm going to be telling you how to get the most flavor out of your profile RDA. I've been seeing a lot of people saying that they're not getting a lot of good flavor out of their profile and they don't understand all the hype behind it. So I wanted to go over what you can do to make your profile taste a lot better and so you don't think you got ripped off. Now, I'm not going to be building on this, that one's already built. Instead, I'm going to be using this deck and we're going to be building on that. Now, basically I have 4 points to cover. First is something that a lot of you probably already know, but use the Nexmesh coils by OFRF spells off for some reason, and you're going to use these coils. Obviously, you've seen these before, you know what they're all about. It's pretty much everywhere, but man, you can't even see the mesh, that's how close together they are. But basically, this mesh is a lot... Yeah, you can't see the mesh, but there we go. All right, basically this mesh has a lot more surface area. It's smaller holes than the Wotofo or Wotofo coil. So you're going to be wanting to use this on your build. I'm going to be building this really quickly. I'm going to be showing you techniques on how to cut your cotton. I'm going to be showing you what you can buy to give your profile essentially better flavor. And then I'm gonna be showing you different types of mods to put them on, and I'm even going to go into breathing techniques. All right, so first I'm gonna do this build. I'm gonna cut through a lot of this because I'm just not good at building on cameras. If you watched my last video, you probably know that. So I'm going to build on this. First, I'm gonna get the coil adjusted. First, you're gonna want to wrap it around here. All right, make sure everything's nice and even. I like to give it a little spin. It doesn't really have a reason behind it. I just think it's kind of like strumming your coils, but in the inside. I'm going to go ahead and place that over here. All right, once you got your coil all set up in the perfect shape, I'm going to go ahead and put them in and screw them in. I'm going to go ahead and scrub the coils with a wire brush. I like to do this because a lot of people think they can't, strum this with any screwdriver or whatever. I don't like to use a screwdriver just because I don't want to bend it. I want to be as gentle as possible with it. Now, unlike some people, I actually enjoy using the Wotofo cotton that comes with it, the 6mm mesh. But you can use whatever cotton you feel suits you. Just remember, you gotta use a lot of it. So try and get closest to 6mm as you can. This just makes it a lot easier for me. You're gonna want to push down on this. Go ahead and try and get that in. There we go. Once you got that thick ass piece of cotton in, you're going to want to cut it. I think it was Wotofo. I'm not sure who said to cut it like this, but this is pretty much the official way. You cut it in a diagonal pattern like that. Sometimes I just cut it straight. It really doesn't matter because either way, once you see what I'm doing with the cotton, you're going to see that it doesn't really matter if I'm cutting diagonally or if I'm cutting straight, because I basically give it a little haircut. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread these out, right? Up and down, kind of just spread it out like that. I forgot what this technique's called, but there is a word for it. If you remember it, comment down below. Of course, you are able to cut diagonally. That works just as well, but either way, I'm giving it a haircut, so. Right, once you got it all afroed out like that, you're going to want to put the amount that you want in the bottom down over here, and you want to give it a little haircut on the top right here. I'm going to go ahead and do that first. Alright, and now once you give it a haircut, you're pretty much a certified barber. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and rub this from the top with my brush. I think this is the proper amount of thinning out. I don't want to use the whole tool. This just makes it, or I don't want to use the tweezers. This just gives it a nice, it just thins it out better for me. I think it gives it a nice appearance. It makes it straighter. I think it wicks up juice a lot better because you're making basically little tunnels, which are little air pockets between the cotton. That's what soaks up the juice, not the cotton itself, but the pockets between it. They're little capillaries. So this makes a lot, and also the smaller the capillaries, the more juice it's gonna soak up. So that's why a lot of wicking like hemp and things like that, even though people swear by it and they say it's like the greatest thing ever, it doesn't work as well as cotton, and same reason why it's not as popular. But of course, I also know a ton of people who wear hemp shirts, and they say it's the most comfortable shirt they ever wore, but you know that shit is the itchiest shit you've ever had in your life. All right, and it's all cleaned up. A lot of people think this is harder than it really is, but it's really not that hard. In my opinion, it's actually easier than doing regular coils. I am doing a lot with the cotton, but to get the hot spots out, I'm not having to, do all this strumming and everything. All right, now as you see here, I am not using one of these aluminum top caps or steel, depending on which version you bought. I'm using the 22 millimeter conversion top cap. Now this comes in Ultim, whatever this plastic is, I don't know, Delrin. It even comes on steel in the 22 millimeter. Now, the reason you're going to want to use this instead of the aluminum top cap is because it really concentrates the flavor. It makes everything, it's a tighter chamber and you get a lot more flavor. And I mean a lot. If you get both of these and you compare them together, this one gives you just the most flavor out of this that you can ever possibly imagine. This is a big deal. This is the main thing I would say. If you really want to get good flavor, go ahead and buy this. Now, of course, you don't have to buy it if you don't have a lot of money and you just want other ways. Switching out the coil is a good way. Another thing you're going to want to use is instead of using a squonk. Now, I still use a squonk. I use the Mach 1 from USV. That's my favorite mod of all time. Now, not all springs are made the same. This is built in a factory. It has, different resistance for each spring. Not because they're doing that on purpose, but just because that's just the human error, So, sometimes the springs are a little bit tougher, sometimes they're not. Now, sometimes your cotton is really close to that squonking pin. And so what happens is once you squonk it, the cotton sucks it back up. And basically you're left with that I'm on the verge of getting a dry hit kind of feeling. It's not dry yet, but it puts in all the juice and then sucks it right back out. And that just gives you a bad sensation. So instead of using a squonker, or you can still use a squonker, but instead of doing that, what you should do, if you really want to get the most flavor, is drip on this. Now let me go ahead and put some juice on this. Well, this is going to take a lot of juice, so I'm just going to blech that in. Now, using a dripper, what that's going to do is it's going to allow it to just keep that juice there. You're not going to get that dry hit that everyone gets. I got to keep this straight up, otherwise it's going to fall. Did it soak it all up? Wow, it soaked it all up really fast. Yeah, I always forget that this takes the most amount of juice possible. As you can see, just look how much I'm just squirting in here. There you go. You can see it on the side. I don't know if you can tell. It's kind of at the air holes, but slowly going down. Look at that. That's actually amazing being able to see through this. The way that's soaking that up, that's crazy. But anyway, you're going to want to drip. Dripping is going to make the flavor a lot better for you. Another thing you're going to want to do is instead of taking those long hits that I know you're used to while you're rocking your Claptons and your Aliens, because it's mesh, it dries out faster, it has a lot of saturation, and it takes that juice that you have on the top and instantly puts it in your mouth. So you're not going to want to take those long hits. Now, this top cap is going to make it a lot warmer of a hit. It's not going to be as cool as when you're using one of these. But when you're taking a hit, try and up the wattage. You can honestly get it past what it says you should put it at. What does this coil say? This says 60 to 70 watts. I'm always running this around 70, but you can even get past that. You can get it to 75. Don't do those 6-second hits. That's going to burn the cotton. You're going to want to take short hits. You're going to want to do high watts and shorter breaths. All right, that's the inhaling technique. All right, guys, to sum up everything I believe you should do to get better flavor, if you really want the most flavor, you're going to want to switch out the regular coils to Nexmesh coils. These offer a lot more surface area and you're going to get a lot more flavor. Instead of squonking, you're going to want to drip. Take out the squonk pin. Honestly, I leave it in and I put it on my mods. Don't do that though. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do that. Pretty sure that's bad for your mods, but I'm just very irresponsible and I got a bunch, so I just do. But anyway, take out that squonk pin and start dripping. Dripping is gonna keep the squonker from sucking back the juice from the cotton, because that cotton is very thick and sometimes it touches very close to that squonk pin, and you fill it up and then you just suck it all back, and you're always on that edge of that dry hit. After that, you're going to want to switch out for the top cap. This top cap does so much for the flavor. Remember that. It's the most important part of this. If you really want all the flavor, this just changes it. It's a game changer. It makes it into an entirely different RDA, really. It's more concentrated. The drip tip is a little smaller bore, and it matches the airflow better than what this does. It's still smooth. It's still just as smooth, but it makes the heat and the concentration in there, you just get so much flavor and so much heat on your mouth. After that, all I can say is higher watts and shorter breaths. Switch up your breathing technique. You don't want to be taking 6-second hits on mesh. It's going to dry out really fast. You're getting all that juice, and it's going to leave one of those little brown lines down the middle of your coil. What you want to do is take higher watts and just short breaths, 2 seconds at the most. Just try that. I promise you, you're going to love the flavor, and you're going to understand what all the hype is about.